Welcome back. Right now, in this era of remote work, there have been a lot of tiger teams and crisis management teams spun up, and they've been talking about what to do with remote workers, how to move forward, who are the key talent that they need to retain, how do you manage workload. All these questions are now in multifunction groups that are really formulating talent strategy, although they might not be calling it that. And the question is then brought up, are these crisis management teams enduring? I would say in leading practice organizations, those who are actually managing through this time well, they are enduring. And sometimes they don't have a formal name, but at the same time, as that's going to endure, there might be value, and I would go so far as to say there will be value in having a organizing framework. So that's what I want to introduce right now. And again, I do not want to come across as saying this is the right way. What I am going to say is that this is a way, and it is a comprehensive way. I believe that it is this situation, and I've been challenged on this historically, where, oh gosh, it's a lot. Well, a lot is going on in life, a lot's going on in organizations. So how do we create some glue? Because we're moving away from this function specific way of management into a more hybrid, and I know that's an overused word, but it's a melding of the functions, because IT is melding with HR, which is melding with strategy and operations. So, and not to mention business transformation. So how do we actually bring this together on a cohesive basis? And how do we talk about, who we're going to recruit, who we're going to develop, and all this stuff. So what you have before you is the talent and culture framework. And let me walk you through it for a couple minutes here. So if you have a talent strategy, what is a talent strategy? Well, for me, it's how you systematically recruit, onboard, develop, engage, and communicate with talent. And you can toss in compensation in there. At the end of the day, it's about the worker experience. How are we going to make sure that we have the right people, right time, right cost, all those things that you heard, a bunch over the years. So breaking it down further, we have four big buckets in my view. Talent acquisition, where you have the recruiting and selection, onboarding, and so forth. You have talent development, which is learning, internal mobility, goal setting, assessment. Notice I don't use performance management internally, but that's where that would lie. Contributions and rewards, it'd be total rewards in some language, but budgeting and planning, benefits, well-being, and so forth. Then communications and culture. So this is where inclusion and belonging, equity, employee experience, org design, and of course, communications itself would live. So you have all these processes, and there's data underneath these processes. And how do we bring these all together? Well, there's these HR technologies. And these HR technologies are really going to be the case where how do we understand that data within these technologies gets synthesized, brought together, analyzed, so plans can be put in place and KPIs or key performance indicators can be put in place to understand whether or not we're achieving those plans. So if I go to the far right, you'll see planning and analytics COE. So center of expertise or center of excellence, whatever you want to call it. So we have the leader questions and we put together analytical projects. We prioritize those projects. We actually do the analytics. We communicate the insight out and we publish these KPIs or targets that I'm talking about. And then that is going to help determine whether or not we should adjust. So those insights and ideas will help reform the talent strategy and help us, again, to modify our initial plan. Now, in the absence of this type of framework, what do people do? Well, they do ad hoc or bespoke analyses, which are fine for some organizations. At the same time, given that we have these prioritizations happening that are necessary, given all the noise that's in the world, all the things that we could do, it's really advantageous to get the right people in a room, having a governing framework. And I'm going to talk about project priorities in prioritization not next week, but in the wake of our conference, because there's some innovations that are happening there. And in fact, we're going to have a tool on our website that will enable you to do that on your own for your organization for free, which will be a fun thing that you can in turn benchmark. So more to come on that. So at the end of the day, I want to take this and I want to put it in the hands of a HR leader or talent strategist, recruiter, and identify the 4 skills that are going to be necessary for the talent and culture framework to come to life. It's this idea that we have a growth mindset or learning mindset. And if you haven't read these books, Carol Dweck, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, although it's 12, 14 years old now, if not more, is a must read. It's where growth mindset effectively originated, which is now common language for most of us. I put Good to Great and How the Mighty Fall, even though those books have been around for quite some time. It really shows that what was true one day might not be true the next, and we really have to guard against the hubris of success. And really, that means that if you as an HR professional or business leader have been doing something for 30 years or something, that doesn't mean it's right, particularly in this age of disruption. We have to be systematic thinkers. We have to understand how the dots are connected. Firms of Endearment, one of my favorite business books of all time, features this. It talks about conscious capitalism, stakeholder relationship management, and we as a public benefit corporation follow a lot of the learnings that are highlighted in this book. But ultimately, it's based on the understanding that if you weight your stakeholders, your employees, your customers, the financial shareholders, the environment in which you do work, the communities in which you do work equitably, you actually outperform peers. And why it's not done more pervasively than I just don't know. But I hope, and I am trying to do what I can under this platform to advance that cause and get us to a better place where this becomes the norm. Expert communicators and facilitators. So not only are we expressing insights, finding the insights and going to our internal customers and telling them what's going on, but we're really good at affirmative inquiry, asking questions so we understand how to prioritize our projects and go after things and get things done. And the last thing I'll say, we really have to be aware of this idea that probability is where we're going to be landing. We're not going to have certainty. This pursuit of certainty where A plus B equals C, where the situation A exists, we do B, then C is going to result. It's not a healthy mindset. It's not true. It's not going to happen. Particularly when you talk about people and organizations, the complexities are too great. So we have to be comfortable with uncertainty. And frankly, those who are thriving at this time have a heightened level of comfortableness, if you will, comfort with dealing with uncertainty. So more to share on that, particularly at the conference, because that's going to be a key theme. But for now, we're going to take a short break and we'll be back with Ian Cook of Vizier.